Okay, so hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you in Warsaw. Today we want to talk a little bit about accessibility, show you our journey towards WCAG compliance, discuss challenges we face off, and show you what we have managed to achieve. But firstly, let me introduce myself and my colleagues on stage. I'm Ariel Strawczyński and I work in Agricole as a digital marketing manager. I also work for 2 years in WCAG initiatives, and and now Artur.
Hello, everybody. My name is Artur Wiśniewski and I'm a Flutter developer at LeanCode.
Hi, and I'm Rafał Charłampowicz, digital accessibility and assistive technology specialist.
Okay, now we want to show you a short movie that illustrates where our mobile application stands for in WCAG compliance right now. And after that, we'll show you all the journey that brought us to this point. So let's watch that video.
Back button. New foreign currency subaccount. Heading. Close button. Step 1 of 2. My main account. 5,000 Polish zlotys. 401940. Which account would you like to open? Heading. Not checked. US dollar. USD. Radio button. Double checked. Not checked. Pound sterling. GBP. Radio. You can open only one subaccount in a given currency. You already have in your subaccount.
Yeah, and we switch option to on reduce motion, and now we'll show you up without animations here. So as you can see, nothing is animated here. And there is a keyboard navigation example. So we can, as you can see, we can go through each of the items here with just the keyboard. So user is using just the keyboard here, nothing else. And the last one, text scaling. So as you can see, user has switched text to the big scale, and everything works fine in our app. Okay, next slide.
Okay, so in May 2022, we launched a brand new mobile application for our customers. It was made from scratch, completely from scratch in Flutter, and it was one of the first application in Europe made in that technology. Yeah, and let's go next. Total of 18 squads worked on that application. There was a lot of coordination and dependency across entire teams. It was a very big pressure to make that application as soon as possible, and it was a success because Flutter was a big accelerant of that. And we can say that the whole project was a big technical success. As I mentioned earlier, the project was a success, and we were proud of it because of a modern technology, a completely new user experience, and also the time that we made it. We received a very positive feedback from our customers, but however, we also received reports from a blind user related to a screen reader, and that was the moment when we realized that this success was not a success for everyone. Okay, right now a few words about EA. So European Accessibility Act covers a wide range of products and services, including banking services, e-commerce, transport, ATMs, and also e-books. And what can we say? Also, the companies are required to make develop solutions and things accessible and user-friendly for everyone. Okay, so after June 2025, we had both. We had deadline and we had a pure responsibility. And that was the moment when we realized that we need a systematic approach.
So at that stage, I was engaged. I had two main tasks. Firstly, screen reader testing, so that we know what is wrong with our app and why blind users cannot use it. And secondly, explaining issues to teams that would fix the app. And you may say that reporting issues and explaining issues is the same thing, but believe me, from my long experience in the field, I can say that as far as needs of people with disabilities are concerned, it's usually not the same. I did plenty of testing, reported plenty of issues, and the most important issues were quickly fixed, and our blind customers could use the app again with a relative comfort. And now I'd like to say a few words about our attitude. Blind users, blind customers are a very small number when compared to the whole number of our users. So practically one might say they disappear. But for us, it was a matter of equality, of equal access, and of course, the European Accessibility Act was coming in 3 years then. But frankly speaking, our attitude was user-centered. So that's why we so quickly fixed the most important things. So issues were reported, many were fixed, but we noticed that some issues are reappearing in new releases, and that evangelization was not enough. Accessibility awareness does not beat roadmap. So we created an accessibility team with Ariel, with 2 testers. I trained testers. We did a lot of testing. We covered the whole WCAG, A and AA level. And what happened? Our backlog exploded. We noticed that we have a bigger governance problem than the development problem. We had to make some decisions. We decided to report issues as tasks, not as bugs. Our developers earlier were not expected to code with accessibility in mind, so reporting issues as bugs would result in getting false statistics as far as bugs are concerned. We also decided to get an external accessibility audit, so that we exactly know where we are. The auditor did the testing, and the score was 60%. Not well, you might say. Actually, with a few exceptions, they didn't report anything we were not aware of. And even the auditor admitted that our app was actually much more accessible, but they used a very strict measuring method. And here perhaps I should explain what this 60% meant. It didn't mean that 60% of our application was accessible and 40% was not. It meant that in the app we had some components that didn't meet WCAG success criteria. We worked hard. Meanwhile, European Accessibility Act became law, so customers could officially complain about inaccessibility. We got to 80% of accessibility. That was the result of our internal audit, but accepted by our external auditor. But we didn't stop there, of course. our main problem was that issues were still reappearing, some issues. So we spent 6 months on fixing the whole process. We added accessibility into definition of done. We created acceptance criteria for accessibility. We did a lot of training, wrote a lot of documentation, and last but not least, we fixed our design system. You cannot have an accessible app if you have issues in components in the design system. So developers did a really great job here. And now Artur will tell you about some interesting micro cases we had.
Okay, before the cases, one quick point. In banking, regulation, UX, security, technology, and customers all collide on each of the screens. So sometimes we need to build bridge solutions. Sometimes we need to prove why we don't do something. And sometimes we need to fix system, not just the screen. And let's start with our first case, something that sounds trivial and isn't, headings. So for screen reader users, they help you navigate through screens and understand their layouts. And because our header components are part of design system, they are shared across the whole app. And because of that, fixing them just took a couple of lines of code in the right place. And here's an example why that paid off. So Flutter has changed. And one setting that used to mark headings for both Android and iOS, but suddenly Android needed its own. And headings stopped being announced on Android. Nothing has changed in our code directly connected to headings. We updated Flutter to the newest version. So we coded after an official complaint that headings stopped working. And thankfully, because our design system, the fix was very easy, we needed to add just one line of code here. And second case, our app shows legal documents as PDFs. And here's the problem. No PDF package in Flutter fully supports screen readers. And we could have built our own PDF package that will fully support screen readers. But getting it right is very hard, and getting it wrong is even worse than not building it at all. So instead of forcing users to use our built-in PDF reader, we created this button that opens users' preferred PDF reader app. So yeah, this is the app that is already set up the way they need, and it works for them and their screen readers. So yeah. And next case is where two laws collide. So WCAG says that if session is about to time out, warn the user and let them extend it. But Polish banking regulation says that session cannot last longer than 60 minutes. So to be WCAG compliant here is not possible, legally not possible. And what we can do here? We can warn users, and we do with dialogue like this, but we cannot offer an endless session here. So for whom that matter? Basically, people who have cognitive disabilities or just slow processing speed. For them, missed timeout isn't just inconvenience; it's losing entire session without understanding what just happened. And what we did, we documented this case, this conflict openly, and we tried to make this warning as clear as possible. And next case. So here, this is a system-level accessibility option. On iOS, it is called Reduce Motion, and on Android, it is Disable Animations. So when it is switched on, a device will keep animations to minimum across the whole system. So if our app wants to be compliant with that, it is expected to do the same. And that's what we did it. And because everything runs through our design system, it was really easy to add this, because we needed to just reduce animation across our design system. And we got a global solution for that. Yeah. And there are some exceptions here, and one of this is here. So in our app, we have this ticket details screen. And here, over the QR code, there is a logo, this T. And this logo is animated. And this animation is very crucial here, because it validates authenticity of this whole ticket. And we cannot remove it, or we cannot disable it. But thankfully, WCAG have a solution for cases like that. If animation is essential, we don't need to reduce it. And by essential it means if we remove it, then we will lose some fundamental information on or functionality. So we keep it, this animation, and we stay fully within WCAG here. Which brings me to the lesson that ties everything together. Accessibility must be watched. So I will give you two examples. First, headings from our start of this section. We updated Flutter to do a newest version, and headings stopped being announced. Nothing has changed directly in our code connected to headings. And second case, security layer. So our app runs on a security layer called RASP. And this is a runtime application self-protection. So we changed some configuration connected to security, nothing with the interface. And it silently broke how our screen reader read the app. So two things that you would never connect with accessibility, and both of it broke it. And so accessibility can regress from things that you would never expect, which means you can never treat it as done. You run regression tests, beta test it with assistive technologies, and keep watching it.
Okay, so previously we had a small number of testers and developers responsible for accessibility, which made it hard to scale it across the entire organization. Right now the target is to make this accessible. Implement it to all process design system and all the components. Also, the key part is collaboration with disability users and to reach feedback from them. And of course, in proper testing, design review, and governance, we want to implement that accessibility into our development process. And what's next? Our next steps are the closer collaboration with disability users, of course, with disability communities and organizations, still collecting the feedback from them. We also made a special role in our organization, accessibility officer. And still we want to continue that way. As you can see, we have a lot of numbers on that slide. We invest almost €1 million to this process. We trained over 350 people across the entire organization, including testers, developers, and of course business teams. We resolved over 700 WCAG issues, and we improved over 300 design system components. From the customer perspective, as you can see, we receive only two valid complaints, and our internal score of audit reached 80%, which is, in our opinion, really great result. 80% is a great result, but it's not the end of our journey. We still want to continue improvement that. And like I said, design system and Flutter help us to scale that in our organization. And yeah, because accessibility is not a project; it's a continuously improvement. Thank you very much.